I'm Brendan Gallagher, and this is Pittsburgh Inspired. We interview leaders and influencers that strive to make Pittsburgh and the world a better place. Today I am here with Gisele Barreto Fetterman. She has done a number of things in the city. She's a co-founder of 412 Food Rescue, co-founder of For Good Pittsburgh, and the founder of the FreeStore. So Gisele, tell us a little bit about the FreeStore.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me and for the kind things you said. So the FreeStore is a place I wanted to create where it would be a place where we're all equal, right? Once money is removed from the equation, we're essentially the same, right, in many things. And I wanted a place where resources were made available, but you didn't have to fill out a form or get on a list or make 3 referral calls. I think that when there's a need, it's an immediate need, and I wanted to be able to respond to that immediately. So we operate out of 3 decommissioned shipping containers. So that means these are the containers that were in the ocean transporting goods. And from that, run entirely by volunteers, all resident volunteers, we serve close to 1,600 families a month.
Wow.
And that includes providing food, clothing, diapers, formula, toys, household things. It comes into the store, it goes on the shelf, it goes out the store.
That is amazing. And so it's not, there's no pre-qualifying anything that
no,
if
there are no
you need it, you come, it's honor code.
Exactly.
You
Some
need
folks
something,
would say,
you come and take
well,
it.
how do you know someone is in need? And I said, because they're here. I mean,
Right.
you don't need to prove anything to someone. And I think a lot of these programs that require registration and income tax, I think it dehumanizes folks, and I think you lose a lot of folks in that process.
It's stressful too, and it deters people.
It does. And we want this space where it's loving and you're happy to be there, and you don't necessarily know who's a shopper, who's a donor, who's a volunteer, because we're all the same. That's
an amazing thing you're doing. I mean, you're providing goods and resources and food for 1,600 people every month.
Yeah, and we've since grown to 9 different locations across the state.
Wow.
But I'm in the Braddock location where I'm working there today when I finish this interview.
Are there other locations around Pittsburgh?
There are. There's one in Wilkinsburg. There is one in Penn Hills, just moved to the high school. There's one in East Liberty inside a church. There's one in Erie. We just opened one inside Woodland Hills High School. We're working with Rankin Promise School in Rankin and Propel at Braddock Hills.
Wow.
And a Propel on the north side too.
Nice.
So we're growing.
I mean, no matter where anyone is in the city, there's a location that's relatively close.
Yeah, and what we realized when I went through numbers of like demographics and the ages that we served, the one group that we least served at the FreeStore in Braddock were teenagers.
Oh, really?
And I think that comes from the stigma and being embarrassed. And
you
always have parents say, oh, I'll get this for my teenager. And parents have the worst taste ever, right? So we wanted to go to them. So Woodland Hills FreeStore was born that way, and we partnered with Route 21, and they came in and designed a whole store and provided all the inventory for it, and it's beautiful.
That's really cool. And you have an amazing backstory as to your inspiration for the FreeStore. Can you tell Pittsburgh about that?
Sure. I don't know if it's amazing, but it's mine. We came from this country to this country from Brazil. I was raised by a single mom who was really brave and packed up my brother and I and just came with nothing but courage and dreams. And we moved to New York City, and she worked as a housekeeper and cleaned hotels and co-check girl, and while she learned English. I learned English watching Mr. Rogers. That's my Pittsburgh connection. We were ESL kids, and we grew up that way, but really grateful and really aware of the differences from my third world country to this country. We were undocumented for nearly a decade, so that was a little hurdle there, but a lot of adventure too.
Yeah. Oh, and I saw something out there about how you got furniture when you first came to the country, because like you said, you didn't have anything.
Right.
And so you found a place to live, but at first you didn't have any furniture.
Right, so we would, explore our neighborhood, right? And when we moved, learning our way around this kind of new, strange country, and we come off one evening and there's furniture all over the curbs. And it was a really strange sight for us, because in my country, if something breaks, you fix it. if you can afford something new, you'll find a home for that item. You just don't put it in the street. And I learned that was bulk garbage day. And what that meant is that a big truck was going to come and was going to crush all that furniture, and it was going to go to a landfill. And that was a real kind of shock to me, because I had no furniture at home, and here's curbs full of furniture. And I was able to solve the problem that we had, which was lack of furniture. Here's free furniture. And we married that. And it set this responsibility that I needed to find homes for things, because I know I wasn't the only family that furniture could have helped. And as well as everything else that's thrown out in this country.
Yeah. And so the inspiration for the FreeStore came from real life experiences that you had.
Entirely. I mean, born to food rescue, addressing food insecurity. We were food insecure, so I know what that was like. Or furniture insecure, or we were clothes that my mom brought home from the kids of the houses that she cleaned. So we lived through that experience. And I think of things that would have made my mom's life a little bit easier in this time. And I try to create opportunities that do that for other families.
That's amazing. So tell us a little bit about For Good Pittsburgh, because that's another organization that you co-founded. It's just getting started. And you also co-founded 412 Food Rescue, but we've already seen an interview on that. So tell us a little bit about.
For sure. So For Good is a partnership with my partner Kristen Michaels, and we had all these ideas. We wanted to do all these different good things in Pittsburgh. So For Good became this umbrella where we could put out good projects. Our launch project was launched in April, and it was called Hello Hijab, where we were looking to respond to the climate. There was the Muslim ban and all these other things were happening, a lot of tension. And we wanted to find a way to respond to that with love. So we launched Hello Hijab, which were Barbie compatible hijabs, which are the headwear that some Muslim women wear.
Right.
And we made them for Barbies, and they were purchased by schools all over the country. We hired 2 local seamstresses who were Muslim to make them by hand. And then the proceeds were donated to the Islamic Center of Pittsburgh, Change Agency, and another organization doing important work like that. And it was amazing. I mean, we received letters from as far as Egypt saying, I never had a doll who looked like me, and now my daughter does. Because there was never a doll before who had a hijab.
Yeah.
So we found a creative way to kind of reach children.
Absolutely.
And so we have a lot of different projects like that in the works. But the big one that's launching, it's opening in 2 weeks, it's the Hollander Project, which was this building that became available in town. And over the years, I've had so many residents, especially women, because women open businesses at a faster rate than men do, who were really talented or had a great idea, were entrepreneurs and needed a space to operate out of. But in a community that's lost 90% of its buildings, the ones that are left aren't in great shape or aren't ready to kind of take on. And if you're a single woman, or it's not easy to just take on a building, take on a project like that. So this building became available for rent, and my partner and I sat down and we kind of said, let's try to do an incubator space with it. Mommy. So this is my son August, who's cleaning. Buddy, can you do it down there? Okay. So this space is an incubator co-working space. What's different about it, because there's several of them in the area in Pittsburgh, what's different is that this is designed for women of Braddock.
Yeah.
So we have really different backgrounds, really talented women offering completely different things, but they provide a really good synergy. And he might have bumped it. I don't know if you want to check.
I didn't watch it.
Okay, don't touch it at all. I'm sure there'll be a lot of editing there for you.
We'll just edit a little bit, but we'll keep them in it.
So the Hollander will have a shared kind of conference room. It will have several permanent tenants and then shared spaces. And it was really designed with the vision of one group particularly in mind. There's a local dance troupe called the Royal Outlaws, and they're amazing. And Tia and the choreographer, they get these kids and practice with them hours at no cost, totally volunteer, and they're winning trophies all over the state with zero resources. So I wanted a space for them to permanently practice. So in the back of the room, there's a large kind of gym space we built out where they will be able to have their headquarters.
That's a wonderful community resource.
Oh my God. Okay, August, that's it. Nope. Go right now. Buddy, that's it. You have to go sit down. All right, give me a kiss and go sit down, or you're never going to go to the pool again, ever again.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go get the iPad and go to the playroom.
I'm sorry. I'm going to the pool.
Okay, but then you have to go to the playroom and get your iPad, okay? Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, actually that's fine.
Watch out, buddy.
So that's, the launch will be in 2 weeks. We have a date and we have our tenants lined up. We have a designer seamstress, Satoy Fashions, who's amazing. We have the dance troupe. We're going to have free ballet classes offered in the space, women's self-defense classes through a group called Set Point. We have a woman who does tattoo laser removal, and she does gang tattoos and sex trafficking tattoos for free.
Oh, wow.
And we have a baker, local baker, Jolisa, who will be baking cakes and doing cake classes. And so it's a really diverse, different group of offerings that I think are going to work really well together.
Yeah, and they're all things that obviously benefit women, but also bring the community together, make the community stronger, provide needs for different people in the community. And I think that's a wonderful thing. With the Hello Hijab, and that's amazing because oftentimes whenever there's cultural diversity or in a place like Pittsburgh, we don't have as much cultural diversity as like in New York City or San Francisco.
Right.
So sometimes if you see someone in a hijab, you're just uncomfortable with it because you're not familiar with it and you don't know about it.
So exposure, I think, is so important.
And at a young age, it makes it even better.
Yeah, we had a woman who wrote us from Chicago, and she said that she got in the bus with her daughter, who was 8, I think, and she ran to the back of the bus, and she chased after her, and she spotted a woman wearing a hijab, and she told her she has a doll at home who looks just like her.
Oh, yeah.
And the woman told the mother that she had never had an positive experience with her hijab in this country as long as she's lived here. That never anyone actually pointed it out to say something good. And I was really, like, the mom wrote us this really beautiful letter. It was really moving for us to read that. But, we never expected it to go as wild as it did. I mean, it went viral. It went, everyone from the Huffington Post to Vogue to the Today Show covered it.
Yeah.
So we got a ton of exposure and a lot of people talking about it, and even people saying things like, I never even knew it was called a hijab.
Right.
I just thought it was a scarf, and now I know it's called a hijab. So I think exposure, and I like to find gentle ways to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that was
a great way to do it. Absolutely. So how can Pittsburgh help you, either through the FreeStore or For Good Pittsburgh? What can the people of Pittsburgh do to help?
I mean, Pittsburgh does. Our projects are only successful because we have amazing people in Pittsburgh. You know, they donate to the FreeStore, they do food runs for 412, they reach out and say they want to be involved in projects. So Pittsburgh is already doing it. You guys are amazing. I love living here.
The people, I've said this on a couple interviews, but the people in Pittsburgh really are special.
They really are special. And of all the places I've lived, Pittsburgh is definitely my favorite.
That's awesome. So if you had to pick just one guiding principle, one thing that every day you wake up, what drives you, what motivates you, what keeps you moving forward and doing the wonderful things that you are doing, what would that be?
It's definitely gratitude. My family's still in Brazil, and we left because of violence. And about 2 years ago, I still read the news because my family's there. And there was an article about a woman named Gisele, who was my age, who lived in my street, and who worked in, she worked in a free clinic. So not far from work that I do.
Yeah.
And she was coming home and she was executed and she was killed. And I'm always grateful to live here, right? But it's moments like that I called my mom immediately and was like, thank you so much for having the courage to do what you do. So I think it's gratitude that guides me always.
And gratitude's an amazing principle. It's motivating, it leads to joy, it leads to energy, and you can practice gratitude too.
Yeah,
if
I believe in being for things. You know, like we talked a little bit earlier. You know, I think there's so much energy being spent on being against things, and I want to put my energy in being for things.
yeah, I think that's amazing.
I cry in every interview. So
Oh, I can't wait to see what you do next. You're a truly inspiring person, and you're doing amazing things for Pittsburgh. So
well,
thank
thanks for
you.
having me. I'm really honored.
So that's it for today. Follow us, like us, subscribe, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. We're on all the different mediums. Just search for Pittsburgh Inspired. And until next time, stay inspired, Pittsburgh.